And again, we all know that everyone that plays sports don't have the passion for what it takes.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Keith Adams. And on this Wind Up Wednesday edition in segment one, we're going to talk about leaving the NBA and work-life balance as some prominent figures on the come up and at the top of their game and walking away. In segment two, WNBA playoffs are here, and round one may be over as this comes out on Wednesday. We'll also welcome Portland to the WNBA. And in segment three, there was a proposal put out that I definitely want the panel to share in terms of maybe creating a new division in college athletics. But first, leaving the NBA and work-life balance. Two people at two different stages of their career have chosen to walk away. NBA senior insider Adrian Wojnarowski, Woj, if you will, has agreed to become the general manager of St. Bonaventure. He is stepping away from his dream job to kind of find a little more quiet in his life. And here's a little bit about the timeline. People at St. Bonaventure was asking him who he would recommend for the position for general manager, because as we move to NIL and roster management and transfer portals, you need independent people within your organization to kind of focus just on those things. And the more Woj talked about it, the more he was interested. And then after the season is usually the worst time to make decisions. So he paused and waited to see if he continued to feel that way. He did continue to feel that way, and he just stepped away. Another person who stepped away at a different point of his career is A.J. Griffin. The Houston Rockets are waiving A.J. Griffin. He's 21 years old, and he's expected to step away from basketball. I believe he went to Duke, and he's the son of former NBA player and Milwaukee Bucks coach Adrian Griffin. He was drafted by the Hawks. Pretty decent player, good potential, but right now basketball is just not as important to him. And before I get to the panel, I'm just going to share some personal thoughts about being on all the time. I was a high school basketball coach, loved every bit of it. I was a college basketball coach. And while I was a college basketball coach, I was actually at the department head for the history department at the local high school. So I'm doing academics, I'm doing athletics. And then I stepped away from coaching to start working on my doctorate. And I was also an athletic director at a local high school to my area with 20 different sports, over 500 different student athletes and coaches. From there, I'm doing student support. I'm an acting administrator. The middle schools that I'm acting administrator and doing all of this work at have between 800 and 1,000 students. And now I'm in a position where I can transition out of public education at the end of the year if that's what I choose for. But I'm intentionally selfish because when I was working on my doctorate, I didn't spend a lot of time with my son, and that started to bother me. So work-life balance is a big deal. On our panel today, and I want to start with him because he's in the belly of the beast right now, Coach Alfred Johnson is with us. Coach, any thoughts about Woj? Any thoughts about A.J. Griffin, or any thoughts about work-life balance? The floor is yours, sir.
Well, I understand actually what both these people are thinking about. Woj especially because his job is 24/7. I heard someone talk on a sports radio about how his phone was glued to his hip. He was on it all the time. He missed important holidays and so forth with his family because he was always working. And I think after a period, you say enough is enough. You start looking in the mirror and you're watching your kids get older. Your wife, the connection. And that's something you don't want to lose. And I understand fully, what he did. The young fella, that's interesting because at 21, and again, we all know that everyone that plays sports don't have the passion for what it takes. And at 21, again, if I'm correct, he got his education from Duke. And if he didn't finish, he's probably going back to finish, because that's probably in the plans. And, he's a capable young man that can do things in life. If his passion for playing comes back, he can go back to it. But at this point, he's saying, I want to do something else. I want to enjoy my life, do something else. And I commend them both for that. It's tough. So I have two grown sons. And one of the things I think about often is that when they were coming up, a couple of things happened. One, my first wife and I divorced, but I was coaching. I spent 15 years coaching in the South. I'm from Philadelphia. So they went back to Philadelphia. I missed out on so much. And at that time, I didn't think about it. All I knew was I was chasing my dream of coaching, wanting to move up, things of that nature. And then one day you looking, they're grown. You've missed out on so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that I have a relationship with them. My youngest son has a beautiful daughter I'm a grandfather of. I'm grateful for that. But I do think about everything that I missed at that time because of chasing my goal, my dream of coaching.
Mm-hmm. Mike, you worked with me during my college, the majority, if not the entirety of my college coaching
Mhm.
career. Um, you also have a skill set that you chose not to pursue. Any thoughts on Woj or AJ and work life balance? Because you do an outstanding job of it, sir.
Well, I know for me, one of the best things that ever happened to me was not getting a job. Just trying to become an athletic director after being assistant athletic director. They went a different direction. Best possible thing that ever happened to me, because it's a full time job besides the full time job, um, and I like coaching, and I still coach. So giving up the giving up the coaching for that, and then it would have been more nights, more weekends, same pay. It was it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy. Even coaching, I mean, I've been doing this is 20 years. The stipend's $100 more. It's not for the money. You do it because you do it because you love it. But no, you got to find that balance. And if it's getting in the if it's hard to find that balance. But if it's getting in the way, like I guess it must have been for Woj, he may then make the call. But you got to do what's best for you as well. Sometimes work. It's all individual, really. But
Yeah.
you just have to find something that you're happy with. As long as you find something you're happy with, you're going to make the right decision.
Yeah, and Will, you played for me when I was at the peak of, as Coach Johnson just eloquently said, chasing. I don't even know what we were chasing, but we were running hard after it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, any thoughts on Woj, AJ? Again, you saw it firsthand, sir.
Oh man, well, I mean, got to commend him. Woj is at the top of his game. He's created his own stratosphere
Phrase,
himself. You
man. A
know what I'm
Woj
saying?
bomb is like a
Yeah, Woj
lexicon now.
bomb. Yeah, it's excellent right now. Um, as a man, as I'm getting older myself, you start to get to certain parts of your life, and you say, this is not the only thing I want to do. I want to move forward and do things like that. Luckily enough, he can make that decision on his own. I remember, when I was working in video production, and that was my life, and I loved it and everything like that, and I got fired out of it, and I had to find something else to do, and life takes me a different way, and now I'm positioned myself now that I'm working in information technology, cybersecurity. I get the ability to work from home, so I get to have a whole different connection with my sons, because this was not something that was expected to me. You know what I'm saying? It was like Coach says, you wake up, you go to your job, you work your job 8 hours, you try to do something else on the end, whether it's the gym or you're coaching or something like that, and then you come home and you kind of do the routine. It's good that they can see that. Even the young man AJ, it's good that he can see, like, hey man, like, I want to do something else. I want to try something else. we'd be crazy in 10 years from now. We say, oh man, he's the leading architect for the new type of
Right.
AI, or he's a surgeon that, is curing things that we never even believed was going to happen. So, I mean, to lose an NBA player for that kind of gain, I mean, who are we to say that, And there's a lot of things that I also tell that, like, as a religious person, I believe there's a lot of God talking to that person and telling them where they want to go. I'm not saying that everybody has to be religious. I'm not saying that's what those two individuals happen, but sometimes God tells you, like, this is in a way that you need to make a change to something. And it could be something that he saw, could be something that was spoken to him, maybe a dream. But you got to just, commend people who want to try and do different things, man. We came from previously from a generation that did the only thing and thing and thing and thing and thing, and then they retired, and then they started to pass away, or they would say, man, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that. So long story short, I'm glad that, they're taking the opportunity to take their lives and go in a different way that they wanted to, that others didn't want them to. And that takes a lot of courage. So I commend them for sure.
And I want to ask Coach about something. Basketball, football, volleyball, soccer. A lot of these current student athletes tend to only do one thing. And they tend to do that one thing year round. And they tend to burn out quicker. And again, as I said, I'm chasing something and I don't know what I want to chase. Now I chase happy. And Will, who's seen me over the last few years, has noticed my weight's down. Coach is happy. He's not stressed about anything. Most of our conversations are about our kids. Mike worked with me in the belly of the beast where it's after school and what are you doing? Watching film, or I got to go to insert school, or the joke, where you recruit tonight? And I lived literally 3 minutes away from my school, so I could stay up late and then roll out of bed, and it's like nothing happened. Most people didn't even know I coached because I was so school busy. But Coach, any thoughts about that? It seems to always be on. There's 88 AAU tournaments. It just play, and maybe that played a factor. Like to get your thoughts as we close the segment.
Well, one of the things is I coach at a Division III school, and our kids play multiple sports. It's actually encouraged. My best basketball player, all conference, 2-year double guy, and so forth. He's playing soccer right now. I got a couple of my guys playing soccer. I got a couple of my guys at the end of the season going to also help the volleyball team, men's volleyball team, and track. As a D3 school, we actually encourage them doing other things. One of the things I talk about all the time that I love about college coaching is that every day we get a chance to associate with some brilliant young people. Some of these young people are flat out brilliant and special, and it's nice to know that the world will be in a better place because of these young people coming up. So again, at our level, D3, our kids play more than one sport. Mm-hmm. And it's encouraged because, listen, I've been D1, D2, where the focus is one sport year round. And often in those cases, them kids get burned out. They get burned out. Yeah. We don't find that a lot at the D3 level.
Yes. All right. That's a good place to pause. So, fans, when we get back in segment 2, WNBA playoffs are here. Are we going to get some brooms out? Will we be at round 2 by next week? We'll find out. We'll be right back with the Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Safe Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Safe Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit ckasafeproject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Safe Project today. All right, welcome back to the Coaches Podcast. In segment 2, WNBA playoffs are here. First round matchups will commence, and this comes out Wednesday. Will they already be done? So we've got the number 1 seed, the New York Liberty, going against the number 8 seed, Atlanta Dream. Will this be the last time we see Tina Charles? I don't know. Mike, will we have a sweep, or do you think this will go 3 games?
Sweep on this one.
All right. Will Cotton, sweep or 3 games?
Get your brooms out.
Coach Johnson, sweep, 3 games.
Sweep.
Okay. Minnesota is the 2nd seed, and they'll be playing the Phoenix Mercury. Petty Mike, Diana Taurasi is 42. Will this be the last time we see her playing? What do you think? Sweep or 3 games, sir?
I was going to say Petty Diana Taurasi. I was so happy when Caitlin Clark came in to take 2 shots to take that record from her. Didn't say a word. Let her be petty. So I think of all the greats, like Kobe being so great to everyone on the way out, and like when it's your last year, you find the new person and you pass the torch, and it's just what makes sports great. Because Kobe, before that last year, was so like focused and like angry because he wanted to win and it was competitive. But the last year, not Taurasi, she had to keep the UConn thing, which was, I was in college when she was 20-something years ago. Let it go. But anyway, I'm glad that record's gone. I'll give her a game. She loses in 3, and then she could leave to the next generation like she should have this year.
All right. Will, did you know Diana Taurasi was drafted when you played for me? How about that as a nugget? All right. Do we have a sweep or 3 games? What do you think?
Oh, I think it'll be a sweep. I think it's going to be a quick. I think it'll be a quick series, just because Taurasi is, and off your notes, Coach. She, the quote she said was, she was like, there's so much to be able to get back on the court, and it's bittersweet in a lot of ways. I've never seen a competitor who's locked in, who's ready to still play, whether their body is doing it or not, has ever said anything about bittersweet or I don't want to wake up or. I think she's on the way out, man. She's and respectively way, she's done a lot for the game and she's willing to do that. So, but yeah, it's going to be a sweep just because I feel like she just can't get up anymore. Not even mentally. You can hear it. It's like she's like, I got to get up, bittersweet. I'm like, you're in the playoff, dude. Like, you're going to have the most eyes that you've had in your entire career. People are going to be looking at this game and you're not excited about that. And that kind of lets me know that she's ready to, she's not going to, she's ready to go.
All right, Coach, what do you think, man? Sweep or
I think it's going to be 3 games, but I agree with both Mike and Will in that I wish she would have approached this year differently, especially in her comments about Caitlin Clark. I mean, listen, for all of us who are purists of basketball, that young lady can flat out play basketball. She can flat out play. And what she's done in terms of attendance, changes in salaries, the fact that they're now flying private and so forth. Let's honor that. But that young lady can play, and I just find it strange how many people are just hating on her for that reason. Because listen, she's going to lead the league later in assists and points. Mm-hmm. She's going to do that. She's going to do a tiny archer ball. You know what I mean? She's going to do a tiny Archibald.
So, young players, please look up Nate Archibald. Basketball references.
That's right. But I think it'll be 3 games.
Okay, Mike, I'm coming to you. Connecticut's the 3rd seed playing Indiana. I'm hoping it's not a sweep because 20,000 people, the largest in WNBA history, watched Caitlin Clark in
Barely play.
DC for the regular season finale. The record attendance was made possible because the Washington Mystics moved the game from the Washington Entertainment Sports Arena, which has a capacity of 4,200 people, to the Capital One Arena, who has a capacity of over 20,000 people. And man, I know the WNBA is hoping that this goes a little bit further. Mike, you've got the floor. Any thoughts about Connecticut versus Indiana? Take it away, sir.
I don't think the WNBA is hoping that it goes further because they keep getting in their own way. I don't think they're. You saw they tweeted out the preview and then even put Caitlin Clark on one of the 8 players on the graphic. So Connecticut just destroyed them 2 games at home, and the 2 games in Indiana were both close. Indiana's won 1 close, lost 1 close, but the first 3 games were in like June and May. So Indiana's a much better team, especially since the Olympic break. But I feel like a lot of at least in the NBA, young teams need to get the lesson before they win. So I feel like Indiana, this isn't the year to get out of the first round. Connecticut's a better team. Indiana's been playing great, but I think it goes 3 and Connecticut wins at home.
Okay. All right, Will, what do you think? Do we have a sweep? Because Indiana is better, but Connecticut's got some ballers.
No sweep, but I guess it's a lady sweep. I think they're going to get one at some point. It could be the first one. Hopefully it's the first one, and it gets people like, uh-oh, look out, Connecticut. Watch out. Here goes Caitlin Clark. And that's just more and more noise. I love it. I hope she gets the first game. But realistically, I'm with Mike King. I think she's going to win at home. Now,
fans, they go Connecticut, Indiana. So the higher seed gets the first 2 games, and game 3 is at the lower seed, just so you'll know.
I might change the sweep then.
They'll get one. So, but I think, the good thing is that we're actually talking about the WNBA playoffs, talking about these young ladies who come out balling. But I'm going to have to say that Caitlin Clark, I'm sorry, it's going to be a nice, you're going to put out a good show, and trust me, you're going to show out. But I don't think your team has enough for Connecticut. Give me a lady sweep.
Okay. Coach, what do you think, sir?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a sweep. I'm just hoping that Indiana plays well and allow this to fuel them in the summer, getting ready for next year. They have pieces. They're still missing something, but they're a good team, and considering they started off 0-8 to where they are now, that's pretty good.
Okay, and finally, the Las Vegas Aces, 4th seed, going against the Seattle Storm, 5th seed. Can the Aces and MVP A'ja Wilson repeat as WNBA champions? Cotton Man, can they three-peat? Are we going to get a sweep, or how are we going to see this?
A'ja is so motivated right now.
Yes.
So motivated right now. One, she's playing the best of basketball we've probably seen in the last couple of years. And that's saying a lot because she's already won the MVP before and won the championship before. The team is healthy. They're on a roll, and I think they won like 9 out of 10 the last win and like that. I think they've won 5 in a row. They're on fire. And and again, anytime, whether you're LeBron, Kobe, A'ja, Caitlin, motivate them. Say them they can't do something. Nothing's going to happen, man. And they make things happen. And she's a special woman, and she's definitely going to do something. She has a lot of the stars aligned. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's ready to go. It's going to be a great series. I think Seattle's a great team, and they've had trouble with it in the past. So we'll see. But I think A'ja is just going to I think she's going to take it to another level. Super Saiyan, blonde hair going crazy. Let's go. I'm going with the Vegas, man. I'll go 5. I think it goes 5.
No, remember, it's only 3 in the first round, sir.
Oh, yeah. Then give me Vegas in a sweep.
Okay. Coach, what you got? Vegas in a sweep, or we got 3 games?
Vegas not only sweeping, but I got them three-peating.
We got him
You know,
three
you know,
P.
you know. It's funny. I'm watching these games, and all I think sometimes is, I wish a couple of my players had her skill set. I'm serious. I'm serious. These young ladies can play, man. People don't have no idea how good they are. You know, I listen to some guys at the end of my bench talk about this, that, and everything. And I'm saying, you're not even close to how good they are. So
Yeah.
yeah, I got Vegas going 3-peat.
What about you, Mr. King?
I think they sweep this round, and then I think New York got unlucky that they have to deal with Vegas in round 2, and that becomes like
Mm.
the old '90s NFC championship game, which was the real Super Bowl.
Yes.
Liberty versus Vegas. Winner's gonna just walk over the other side.
All right. So as we close this segment, we would like to formally welcome Portland back to the WNBA. We've got the Golden State team coming in next season, and Portland's coming in another couple of years. So the WNBA is growing, and this should be a very interesting college basketball season because Juju might be in Portland based on the draft kind of thing. So
Mhm.
try to keep it West Coast. Again, we're just speculating, but fans, when we get back in segment 3, will we have a new division in NCAA sports? We're going to talk about it. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. With over 15 personal stories and insightful antidotes, Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasaveproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. And in segment 3, let's talk about what possibly could happen. I highly doubt it, folks, but since it's out in the news, we definitely want to address it. So first of all, I am a member of the board of directors of the Drake Group, and the Drake Group's mission is to educate policymakers and advance legislative initiatives to foster academic integrity and athlete well-being in intercollegiate athletics. And I encourage you to go to www.thedrakegroup.org and just check out the work they do. In addition, the Knight Commission had a meeting last week, and the purpose of the Knight Commission, and I have been to some of their in-person events, it's called the Knight Commission on Intercollegiate Athletics, and their goal is to develop, promote, and lead transformational change that prioritizes the education, health, safety, and success of college athletes. And check them out at www.knightcommission.org. A lot of good things are happening. So at their meeting, a Southern Conference Commissioner, Michael Cross, presented a draft, and I emphasize it's a draft, of a new NCAA governance model that divides the Division I level into Subdivision A, which is the Power Four conferences, plus those they wish to include. Subdivision B would be the other schools, and according to media reports, Subdivision B will also be known as the College Premier Subdivision that is committed to an education-based model. And the draft is a 10-year plan where the hope is that there's no change to the championship structure. So what is the goal of dividing Division One? One, appease power leagues wishing to change rules to spend more money in terms of possibly paying athletes. Two, appease lower resource leagues wishing to legislate competitive equity among themselves. And three, maintain competition between groups in regular season and championship play. So I remind everyone, this is a proposal. So don't get too excited, but this is how things start to happen. So I'm going to start with Coach Johnson. You have been on multiple levels. You've been in the belly of the beast. You've seen it on Division 1, 2, and 3. one, what are your thoughts on the proposal? And two, what advice would you give to the NCAA if they would listen to the show?
Honestly, I'm hoping that they don't split it. They don't split it. I really am. I'm hoping they don't split it. As things is now, I think it's fine. Division 1, 2, 3, NCAA wise, I think it's fine. The idea of empowering education, I understand that, but that is already supposedly in place. Our young student athletes are going to school first for an education. I understand when we talk about the Power Five schools and so forth because of the money. Yes, all right. Um, I've coached at HBCU schools, Division One, where they're in a conference where only one team gets a bid. Well, that's not going to change even with the split. That's why personally I prefer Division Two because you could be at a good D2 school and your conference could get more than one bid. So unless they're talking about ways to give schools more bids, I don't see a reason for the split.
All right, Mike, you have witnessed this through your alma mater, Maryland. I showed you the proposal in advance. You had a chance to take a look at it. One, what are your thoughts on the proposal? And two, any advice you'd give the NCAA?
I mean, the advice for the NCAA is they gotta figuring out the money is the most important thing. So just appeasing the what would it be, the subdivision A, the Power Four, so they could spend more money is just gonna make their sport less competitive. It's just gonna make things as they are just get worse and worse. They gotta do more. I don't know. They gotta find that balance between the rich get richer, and then what are we watching?
Mm-hmm.
What we're watching for the last 15 years, Georgia, Alabama winning every time, which is only going to get even worse. Where Georgia or Alabama can now go, oh, I'll take your best tight end, I'll take your best offensive lineman, and then I don't see how most of the Power Four conference schools would like a system like that. It's really only going to help a few. So I think they got to figure it out. It was better in the old days when there was a handshake with the check in it. Like that was at least it seemed more fair when we didn't know, we just knew.
And it wasn't a check, it was $100 bill.
Oh yeah, I've heard stories. I've worked with some people. I heard stories.
I didn't see nothing. All right, Will, you're my regular cat. You watch it. You got gambling involved in it now. One, what do you think of the proposal? And two, what would you say as the average Joe fan to the NCAA?
So the first thing I would say as the proposal, this looks like the proposal. This is like the proposal that was given us that should have been 10 years ago. This is something when they knew this was coming. This was in a proposal saying, hey, we know this is coming down, or NIL is coming down. Hey, let's start getting these proposals. So they're let me not say 10 years, but maybe they're like 5 years behind in terms of what they're thinking about their policies. And they're going to be further and further behind if they're not thinking more further thinking in terms of how they get it done. For me as a fan, just make sure that I have the games I want. Texas needs to play Oklahoma. There's certain teams that have to play teams every year. That's the only thing that I care as a fan. The money thing doesn't really involve me, in terms of personally, unless maybe you have a child who's playing in sports and you're trying to like, hey man, hey, look, that might be a lower team, but they're in the Power Four or the subdivision A, and they could pay a little bit more. But normal person, the only thing that you're going to remove teams that like Colorado versus Colorado State. No reason that they should be playing again in 2029. They should play every year. It just seems
I
like
agree with that.
a rivalry. Yeah, that's what we lose. We lose those rivalries that we don't normally get, and that's going to be unfortunate. But it won't change too many things because You had dudes like we had dudes betting on Hawaii versus Northern Iowa at 12 o'clock at night this morning. So that nothing will change with that. But fans will lose some good matchups, and that'll suck.
So, Coach, you're still in college, and I'm on the outside. One, I say on a regular basis on the show, football destroyed basketball, and football doesn't care. You got the University of Tennessee adding like some 10% surcharge to the students
Yes.
to, I don't even know what the fee was called or something. You
So they
got
basically said to help pay the athletes. That's
yes.
exactly what they basically said. They added the fee to help pay the athletes.
I'm at the University of North Carolina for football camp for Point Five, and I'm looking at them try to both build facilities as well as pay for NIL money. And as you see from the results this past week, they're doing neither one correctly. And there's no anger with this. This is not an angry conversation.
Well,
I drive Route 1, which is near the University of Maryland, and I see construction, construction, construction. And I know that's Big Ten money. And whenever anybody complains, I say, I don't see anybody tearing down the library because football's bringing in all this money. So I'm at a crossroads because I even wrote a book called Find the Balance. I assist student athletes in gaining a degree. The work we do has a 90% college graduation rate, but yet no one cares about school. We've got, and Mike could verify this, we've got middle school and high school parents pulling their children out of school for travel tournaments, and they can't read very well, and they can't write very well, and they can't afford to be out of school, but they're chasing something we don't even know what they're chasing. So, Coach,
Mm.
I'm coming to you as we wrap up, and everybody will have their closing thoughts. Any final thoughts about the direction we're going in? Because you see, they're trying to do something, but the House case is not going to be settled anytime soon because the judge ain't happy, and it just doesn't seem to stop. Final thoughts, sir.
the direction we're going, truthfully, is not good. I agree with you when you talk about parents taking kids out of school for travel teams and so forth. Unfortunately, majority of these parents don't have a clue. I'm a Division 3 coach. I have a couple young men on my team that are very good Division 3 players. They will be. And I listen to parents tell me how their kid is a Division 1 player. Yet no one recruited them at that level.
Mm-hmm.
No one. They had no scholarship offers, D2. But yet parents going to tell us how good they are. And the problem is they need to help these young people prepare. I tell my kids this: you're here first to get an education. And I tell parents, these are my rules. They're going to class, they're going to pull their pants up and so forth. If not, they can't play for me. It's simple. And you know, I heard someone talk about one time how the kids are different. The kids aren't different. It's the parents allow them to do this nonsense. As grown-ups, somebody got to be a grown-up in the room. We got to make sure we have rules, they're following it, but we need our young student athletes across the board to get educated first. Listen, they don't practice, they just play. And their habits are terrible. The defense is terrible. Their shooting forms are terrible. You try to teach, another problem, if I'm be honest about it, we've coached a lot of young men from single homes, and there's nothing wrong that happens. But often when they hear male's voice telling them what is right and wrong, they want to buckle up. That's a problem. That's a problem. I get upset when I hear mothers tell 8-year-olds, "You the man of the house." He ain't no damn man of the house. He 8 years old. Don't start that nonsense. So these are things that Keith, Dr. Adam, this is what I tell my sisters, if we go to a game recruiting a kid, and as soon as I hear mother holler, "That's my son," we don't recruit him. Because everybody in the building know that's your son. And as soon as he mess up, you ain't got nothing to say. So again, this AAU stuff, this pulling kids out, us, the parents not emphasizing the importance of books. Education will open more doors for these young people. You have your doctorate. I am currently in school now getting my PhD. I do it for this reason. I just want my players to understand that education will open more doors. That's why I'm doing it. It will open more doors for you. I want parents to say, you know what? Coach got a point there. I want them educated. The NCAA gives away money to student athletes for internships, for things in the summer, things of this nature based on GPA. We try to steer our kids towards that, but we hold them accountable for their books.
Yeah. All right, Will, you and I have had private conversations, and you have said to me, I can't go back and coach these days. Any final thoughts on what we've talked about in segment 3? You have the floor, sir.
Oh, I think it's amazing. And first I want to commend Coach, for going back to getting his doctorate. And he also teaching kids, it never stops. You never stop learning. You never stop striving. You never stop growing in terms of your knowledge and what you can get. And I really appreciate that. And I take that to myself being 40. And I'm like, man, shit, why not go back and get that?
Yes.
So I'm in a different side of things. My son is a genius, so I don't, he's not interested in sports right now. So he goes to a French immersion school, so he speaks French. He's very into science and technology and medicine, and he's very curious. He speaks very well. So friends come up to me and they say, "Well, are you upset that your son doesn't play basketball, or don't you want to play baseball?" Like, look, man, I have fun going to science fairs.
Right.
I go to school plays, man. We went to the Lion King. I thought that was pretty cool. Just because I grew up, doesn't mean that he has to grow up and do those things. I have a youngest who's into Ninja Warrior, and if y'all knew, that's part of that obstacle course thing. So he's into that, and I'm not gonna say, hey, you need to play another sport. No, these kids can do anything they want, man. And it's a testament to my hard work that they can do them things. And I'm not struggling and saying you need to be a millionaire and get us out of the ghetto and get us out of here and all this stuff. So they don't have that pressure. I never had that pressure. They could do what they wanted. When I was a kid, I played I did hockey for a little bit. I got to do all kinds of things. And I think the best thing we can is just introduce them to all these things and let them choose. But like, taking kids out of school for tournaments and things like that teaches them bad habits, period. Period. They put their priorities in the wrong way. And it's just going to continue. It's going to continue as the exposure of everything. And now all you need is a YouTube or Instagram. And oh, well, my son got 10,000 views and he got all these people on Instagram and everybody sees it. And I'm like, yeah, but of those 10,000, maybe 5 of them are coaches, and 3 of those coaches are
Right.
D2 coaches. You know what I'm saying? So it don't really matter. People who don't got nothing to say to them. But yeah, just like the panel says, man, like I've started to see my value to helping service and helping younger kids, and I want to and getting more involved. I'm obviously coach working with student athletes, and I've joined with the school, my son's school, men's make a chair difference. We push STEM and we push all kinds of things for them, and so I'm seeing the value, and we need to do more of that as our young people, as I start transition to the older generation. They calling me Unc and all this stuff now. But it's good, man. I'm here in a position to help the kids, man, and that's what it's all about, is improving our planet, improving our generation, and showing that you never stop learning.
All right. And Mike, I purposely ended with you. I started with Coach because he's still in college coaching. Mike, you've been in a high school classroom over 20 years in a row. You have seen the trends. Any final thoughts you have on this discussion we've had in segment 3?
Education always comes first. I always wonder about all the AAU and all this, and you end up spending more than probably you would get from the scholarship. So it's all this time and you're missing school. And again, how many people is that going to be the career? And you have to make these decisions when the kids are young. And then if you don't grow up to be 6'1", you might not get the scholarship anyway. There's some things beyond your control. Like, so you can start spending all this money when they're 7, 8 years old, and it's like a sunken cost if that's the goal. But again, the goal should always be education. I think everyone has said it very, very well. Education first. If it works out, it works out.
All right. And I will close with a shout out to my mentor, Hank Alada. He used to tell us all the time, and Will can finish this speech as I give it. God and family are first. Academics are second. If you care about this sport, that's third, and it has to be a strong third. And everything else comes after that. That is how you prioritize success. And if you're able to learn how to prioritize, you're going to create opportunities for success. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and/or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we'll see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.